The spectacular stage thing, which you had on the first tour in Australia, when did that start to evolve on stage?
I think we had ideas from the very, very early stages. I think it just developed as we got to do more gigs and as we gained experience and things like that. I think there were a lot of ideas that we wanted to try out both on record and on stage. But it's something that you can't do all at once. I mean, you've just got to be in the right sort of stage in your career to do larger things. Like you couldn't start off with a huge entourage of lights because, I mean, we weren't doing bigger venues. So you had to sort of like wait for your turn. But it came pretty quickly, I think.
Now, with Queen 1, Queen 2, Killer Queen, you were building up an immense album following with those albums. Then, and also, I mean, you were also breaking into the singles market in quite a big way. But with Bohemian Rhapsody and A Night at the Opera, I mean, that was the absolute breakout.
Yeah, well, that really tore the market up. Tore the market up and down, didn't it? I mean, it sort of it just kind of got us a totally different. It got us to a very different area. I mean, the cross section of sort of the public then was so different. I mean, we suddenly realised we were playing to mums and dads, and I mean, like the people that were coming to see us were totally different. And I think it was a very good thing because, I mean, it was just gathering a much larger sort of audience, really.
Yeah.
And it helped enormously.
Now, for an act that had been so visual on stage, and I'm still referring to the Bohemian Rhapsody time, suddenly, in that year, came one of the classiest.
I could really picture that sort of song into the visuals. So I think when it came to doing the promotional film, I think it was quite easy because people think we spent hours and hours making that film. In fact, it took literally about four hours, I think. The way we choose singles are sort of, they're album tracks, basically. I don't think we actually write a single and say this is going to be the single. And what we, I think, try and do is try and, with each album, try and work out what is, where our music is at the current given time, and try and showcase it in say, one single, in one sort of number. And that's what takes the sort of single format. With Night at the Opera, we just felt that Bohemian Rhapsody was the song that would sort of say what we're doing at the given time. So we sort of chose that. Obviously, we came across certain barriers, like it being 6 minutes long or whatever, and we said, I mean, there were numerous rows. I mean,
well, the recording company wanted to, in actual fact, edit it. Right?
Edit it and things like that, yes. And we just thought, there's no point. You either sort of hear it in its entirety, or pick another song. Yeah. And I think we were so sort of confident with that sort of number. I mean, it is a risk, I know, and we either thought it was either going to be an enormous flop or a huge success, you know, depending on.
Well, I mean, both the single and the album became, I mean, like chart monsters. And I noticed that, in fact, Bohemian Rhapsody won an award the other day for one of the best compositions.
The BPI thing.
Yeah, for over the past 25 years. The pressure then on the group must have been immense to do the follow-up album, which was A Day at the Races.
True. I think people will, obviously, no matter how hard you try, will think of in terms of your past hits. That's inevitable. But I think it's up to the group and the musicians to really think in other terms. From my point of view, I mean, as far as the writing side of it was concerned, I really thought, I said, okay, Bohemian Rhapsody, big hit. But as far as my writing abilities were concerned, I think I could write better anyway. And I just looked at it from that point of view. I mean, I just went and wrote, from my estimation, I think a song like Somebody to Love is, in my estimation, a better sort of, from the writing aspect, a better song, you see. But I mean, it's very difficult because obviously people think of sort of songs in terms of hits, obviously, and then they will obviously say, well, Somebody to Love was not as good a song because it wasn't as big a hit. But it really depends on how you look at it.
I didn't quite know whether We Are the Champions was a sort of a subtle thing of saying, well, you may think, you know.
I mean, I think we always write songs like that. It really is up to the listener to make up its interpretation. I think it's nice. I think up to now, I think even now, it's got to a stage where we do it subconsciously, you know. I mean, and we write especially my songs, I mean, they don't state very categorically. I mean, they're very sort of, they can go into different sort of areas. And I like that, actually. I mean, it's a nice escape for me, from the writer's point of view, but I think from the listener's point of view, it's nice that they can make up different interpretations. So basically, if you ask me what it's all about, I would say it is tongue-in-cheek, and it's not to be taken too seriously. I mean, my God, I can't be serious.
No.
You know, it's something that I wanted to write a song that was very cold and calculated, and kind of to the point. And basically, it was a song of sort of participation. I wanted people to sort of participate. I was looking at it from the sort of the show point of view as well, how we were going to sort of do that. And I just thought, why... I wasn't going to sort of beat around the bush. I thought I'm going to be as blatant as possible.
Well, can I just interrupt there?
Yeah.
I remember also you saying last year that was sort of like being... You might as well be in a jail, the time you were spending in the studios. And I notice here you've said, I've done my sentence but committed no crime, and bad mistakes I've made a few.
Theatrical. That's all very theatrical.
Right, and then it keeps going, and then it says, which... This probably makes a lot of people think, I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with that. I thank you all. But it's been no bed of roses.
Yeah. It's my way of saying that to a lot of people, I mean, that's like, a lot of people think being a rock and roll star is kind of going to a studio, making a disc, and then going around spending all the money, which I don't think it is. And I think... I know that a lot of people do realise that, but even at the same time, a lot of people don't. They think it's a very easygoing life, and I mean, like, a lot of people still think, when I say, oh, we're going to America for a tour, they think, oh, nice long holiday. And that's just my way of saying that it's not easygoing. I mean, God, I mean, don't for one minute think that it's all peaches and cream.
Now, may I ask you a couple of pertinent questions?
Oh, what are they?
The first one being like one of the world's top groups, and
nice.
living in a country, well, I mean, it's true.
You can ask me about taxes, go on.
No, I'm not.
Thank God.
Living in London, with the punk rock craze coming along.
What's that?
Does it become a challenge, you know, in the sense where you're finding these amazing contrasts, and like you'll find the punk rock writers who will follow a certain stream and may try to put down the established top world acts of today. I mean, is it a challenge to you and the rest of the guys?
It's always been a challenge. I mean, it doesn't matter what, even if there is a new movement, or call it what you want, there's always a challenge. I mean, take for example the charts today. I mean, at the moment, I feel there's enormous competition with just the established acts. I mean, there's ELO, there's ABBA, there's Rod Stewart. So I mean, you know, there's always competition, and we're never going to sort of. I'm never one for resting on my laurels, really, because I always know there's that competition, and that's what keeps us, you know, keeps the driving force there. Well, but with the new stuff, I think it's all healthy. I think there's always going to be a kind of a new movement, because I mean that's how we started.
Can I be bold to say that then I think it almost brings the cunning out in you. I think you almost enjoy it.
Oh yes, I mean the day where we sort of say that, well, we're the greatest or whatever. I mean, there you are, we're the champions. I mean, it's not meant to be taken.
But one could almost look at it that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly haven't hit our peaks. I mean, you've got to keep going. I think there's so much we still have to do.